I've been around this great big world, and nothing I've seen can top it. Yes, I'm talking about this place, the world famous Lexington Market, slurping up oysters and chowing down on fries. Let me have some of that wonton soup and more sweet potato pie. They got sushi, smoothies, maws, and slaw, and food from the Caribbean. Tacos, ham hocks, bagels, and lox, and everything in between. I've been around this great big world, and nothing I've seen can top it. Yes, I'm talking about this place, the world famous Lexington Market, slurping up oysters and chowing down on fries. Let me have some of that wonton soup and more sweet potato pie. Let me have some of that wonton soup and more sweet potato pie.
Thank you, everyone. My name is David London, and I'm the Chief Experience Officer at the Peale. And allow me to be the first to welcome you and thank you for joining us for today's Lexington Market Community Storytelling event. You just heard Bob Jacobson, a longtime friend and supporter of the Peale, singing his original Lexington Market song, and we'll be hearing from Bob again later in the program. Today's event will last approximately 1 hour, and we have left time at the end of the program for anyone who joined us today who wishes to share their own Lexington Market story. And I know at least one person has already stepped up to do so, and I hope that you are inspired throughout the program and will do so as well. Today's event includes ASL interpretation as well as live transcriptions, and the transcriptions are available within Zoom by clicking the closed caption button at the bottom of the Zoom screen. I would like to thank our interpreter, Antonio, who you see next to me now, as well as our transcriber, Katrina, who is working behind the scenes today. If you have any questions or suggestions or need any help with accessibility, you can email access@thepealecenter.org. In the event of any technical difficulties or unforeseen circumstances during today's broadcast, you please check your email for further instructions, although we do not foresee any problems. If you need any technical help with today's broadcast, you can email us at online@thepealecenter.org, or you can reach us on social media. We are at The Peale on Twitter and Facebook, and The Peale Baltimore on Instagram. And these handles will also be shared in the chat box. Speaking of the chat box, if you open the chat within Zoom, if you have any questions or comments you would like to leave, you can do so in the chat box, and we will, if we have time at the end, be able to answer any of those questions. Additionally, if you are interested in sharing a story today, you can put that in the chat as well. For those of you who do not know, the Peale is a multi-dimensional cultural institution whose physical space is on Holiday Street in downtown Baltimore City. The oldest museum building in the country, the Peale is focused on preserving and sharing authentic stories of Baltimore's peoples and places. Taking a cue from the museum's original founder, Rembrandt Peale, the Peale today is a center of innovation. It strives to reinvent the urban museum for the 21st century. The Peale, as a home for Baltimore stories, aims to be a safe space for the city's voices, a place where a diverse community can be heard. Our storytelling initiatives are how we discover and preserve the history of our people and of this place. And today, the Peale is proud to maintain the region's largest collection of stories from around Baltimore. All the stories we collected from around the city can be heard on our website at www.thepealecenter.org. Our building is currently undergoing renovation, and we are in the final moments of our capital campaign. If you'd like to support our efforts to bring the building back to life, you can do so by visiting thepealecenter.org/campaign, and that link is also being put in the chat. We are down to the final days of our matching campaign, where donations are being matched dollar for dollar. We would like to begin this event by acknowledging, with humility, that the lands where the Peale and Baltimore is situated today are the traditional, ancestral, and unceded lands of the Piscataway, Lenape, and Susquehannock indigenous peoples. The vast coastal area today known as Baltimore City, Maryland, sustained indigenous peoples until the arrival of Europeans beginning in the 1600s. Over the next 400 years, many Piscataway, Lenape, and Susquehannock communities were decimated, absorbed by larger villages or tribes, and or forced by the U.S. federal government to move west beyond the Mississippi with larger tribes. Since then, other tribal peoples have moved here in diaspora, including Lumbee peoples. On January 9th, 2012, two tribes of Piscataway, the Piscataway Conoy tribe and the Piscataway Indian Nation, became the first tribes recognized by the state of Maryland. In 2017, the state also recognized the Akahannock Indian tribe. We acknowledge that the Peale stands on stolen lands, and I would like to also acknowledge that this history was adapted from an original text with thanks to Ryan A. Coons, Peter Dayton, and Ashley Minner of the Lumbee tribe. And now I would like to introduce to you all Dean Krimmel, who was hired to document the history of Lexington Market and is also a board member at the Peale. And he will provide a quick history of the market before we hear from our storytellers today. So let me pull Dean up here, and Dean, I will hand it over to you.
Cool. Thanks, David. Good to see everybody. We'll talk to market history. I'm going to talk for just 5 minutes. And couple of things about Lexington Market history that have come to light, that some of which we knew and some of which we dug a little deeper into. We're doing this at noon. We're all thinking about Mary Mervis, having heard that tune and watched those pictures. So we're thinking about food, aren't we? Thinking about oysters at Fadley's and sandwiches. But I'm gonna take us back and cover two specific stories. Two questions that were kind of burning at the beginning of this project. And the first one is, when was the market founded? When did it open? The second one is, were enslaved people sold at the market? Was the market a place of where enslaved people were sold in antebellum times? So that's what I'm going to do in the 5 minutes. And there's obviously there's tons of stories and tons of material that I'm churning up as part of my project. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to nail down a lot of the kind of the dotting the I's and crossing the T's and putting together a lot of material that will help set a foundation for what would become kind of a community or a public archive for people who want to learn more about the history of the market. So I'm churning up massive amounts of information about people, about families, and the market itself. So, all right, let me let's go to first slide. Now I'll read some of these because some of you may not be able to see this. I have a quote from Helen Tangiers, so a former Peale employee who's written a lot about public markets. And her one of her pieces of wisdom is the public market is our society's conscience. It's the place where we can evaluate our success or failure at organizing urban life. So the beginnings of the markets, the public markets in Baltimore were for a boom town. This is a map of Baltimore in 1801. If you go down to the bottom, if you've never seen this before, orient yourself by looking at the bottom of it where it says Basin. That's the Inner Harbor. And I have the letter A, and I have 4 numbers on there. And this is Baltimore in 1801 at a time when there's about 25,000 people living here. The letter A is Baltimore and Gay Streets, and that is where there's a public market from the 1760s through the 1780s. It was Baltimore's first market. As Baltimore's population just literally started to boom with really it was about wheat and the backcountry of central Maryland and Pennsylvania becoming wheat growing regions and cereal growing regions, and Baltimore was a port that was further west than the other ports and took advantage of this point, which we still do today, and became a major export port. The town was booming. People started to clamor for markets. In the 1780s, 3 markets were authorized and then built. The first one is the number 1 is Hanover Market, which is gone. It was on Hanover Street. It was on the east side. It'd be roughly where Otterbein and between Otterbein and downtown, just past the Light Street Wharves. The second market, and these all opened within about a year of each other, 1785 to 86. Second one is at Center Market. That's where the Port Discovery is now, and the marketplace. That was a major a massive complex that grew pretty quickly overnight and served the middle, where the bulk of the people lived in Baltimore. The third one was Fells Point, and there was an existing market there from the early 1780s, but it was authorized and opened in 1786. So this is the Baltimore's growing and booming, and people are starting to move on the west side of downtown, of the west side of what we call downtown. The area around the letter number 4 is where a new market was built, as the land is developed by the John Edgar Howard, who inherited massive amounts of property from his father, 1782. In the 1790s, people start to clamor for a market closer than the others, and they say, we ought to close, the locals who live there say, close Hanover and put a market up here. But finally, in 1803, it took 4 years of complaining and petitioning for the county, because this is not city. This is not city property. The county commissioners, the state of Maryland, had to authorize new markets, the state legislature. So in 1803, they authorized a new market, which would be in what was called the Western Precincts of Baltimore. It's Baltimore County property. It's not city. In 1803, it's authorized. Land is acquired, is purchased in late in 1804. The market starts to be built in 1805. Already, this is a slide of a couple newspaper articles from 1805. The market isn't built yet, or it's not finished yet. And already there's advertisements and notices from people who are opening businesses, and they're saying it's near the new market. The market becomes an immediate economic anchor, and raising property values and doing all kinds of positive things that its boosters and promoters had hoped for. So these ads, one is for a business that opens right in the edge of the market, and the other is for somebody who's trying to rent property using the market as a landmark. The market opens when rules and regulations are formulated and published. And in Lexington Market's case, that's 1806. Market rules are established in May. Their hours start in June. I suspect June is kind of the official opening of the market. June of 1806, the market opens. This is contrary to what we've all grown up with, or many of us have grown up with, the idea that John Edgar Howard laid out property in the 1780s. So if anybody has questions afterwards, I could tell you a little bit more about it. But suffice it to say, for today, it's just to say market opened in 1806, and the earlier origins are kind of a backstory leading up to that. And so it's the fourth market that Baltimoreans are served by. In 1818, the city expands and annexes land around, and this becomes part of Baltimore City. And this is a plan of showing the location of the first markets. It was not Utah and Lexington as we know it. It was centered on Paca Street, and a long market shed went to Green on the left, and a shorter market shed went from Paca to an alley. It's Jasper Street now on the right. So it's a very different place. Small. It's serving, by 1818, it's serving a city of about 60,000 people, along with the three other markets. So, next question: were enslaved people sold at the markets, and specifically Lexington Market? There's some evidence that yes, there are auctioneers who are setting up, particularly this man, Nicholas Strike, in the 1820s, who are getting licensed to auction all kinds of goods. And they are, at least a handful of times in the 1820s, early 20s, they are advertising the sale of enslaved people. Here it is, Hanover Market. The first advertisement was just a general notice that he would be working all the various markets. This on the upper left, it says sale by auction, 2 valuable Negroes, slave for life. And they're doing it at the Hanover Market. And that's in contrast. Take a look to the right side where it says a valuable Negro woman for sale. This is what is happening much more commonly at a time when white Baltimoreans and white Americans didn't try to hide the fact that they're selling people. So there's probably pretty good reason to believe that this is when if it's happening a lot, we would know about it. And it just doesn't happen a whole lot at the markets and in public places. It seems to be mostly a private affair. So what about Lexington Market? turns out, and people who've done this in the past, they've looked around the Baltimore Sun archives once it was digitized, and people have found this advertisement, and this is the sole advertisement that I can find, sole listing for anyone who was enslaved, who was sold at the market, at Lexington Market specifically. And this is for a girl named Rosetta, no last name given, who was sold after her slaveholder, Samuel Gaskins, went bankrupt, and his property is being sold from February to April of 1838. And in March, this sale is advertised. There's nothing else I can find yet about Rosetta, and that would be our hope to somehow discover something about Rosetta. My fear would be that this is a period in the 1830s where there's major slave traders. Austin Wolfocus, and there's recent scholarship and books about the trade from New Orleans, from Baltimore to New Orleans, and these slave traders are buying people and shipping them literally down the river from the 1820s through the 1850s to feed that insatiable demand in the Southwest of Texas, Arkansas, for major plantations. I'm going to wrap up with just giving you a little picture. This is a view of Lexington Market in 1869, when it's full 3 sheds. It shows the marketplace itself. It was a sprawling place that on market day, there'd be outdoor stalls going on Lexington, starting at Howard Street, going all the way over past, finally at Pearl, and then Arch Street. There were outdoor sheds, outdoor stalls on the streets of Utah up to Saratoga, down to Fayette, same on Paca, same on Green. Imagine the Lexington Market as this 6-block mass of people coming together with wagons and horses, at least in the 19th century. And then the 20th century, it continues to be just as big, but then there's the automobile and all kinds of congestion. It's a whole other story. I want to thank the librarians and archivists, the history keepers. Rob Schoberline is digitized a lot of records for us. The other folks on this list work at local museums and state organizations, and also the Patricia Schultheis wrote a book about Lexington Market. Jock Kelly, Raphael Alvarez, Vanderwood, journalists over the years have kept it alive and told some stories. There's also a couple people in here whose families had stalls, Amani Surgis and Sharon Lina Pierce, who've done their own research and have material. So this community storytelling also exists when it comes to documentation of the history. So I want to say thanks, and thanks for having me here. And I will mute myself, go back to this program.
Great, thank you, Dean. That was an enlightening history, and going back to the early days of the Lexington Market at the Peale, we believe that history is also happening every day. And so we would now like to share with you some small collection of the stories that we have collected so far as part of the Lexington Market Storytelling Initiative. The program will last about 25 minutes. And then, as I mentioned before, we will open it up to anyone who has joined us for this on this call who would also like to share their story. So give me just a moment here to pull this up, and I hope you enjoy the program, and we will see you all very shortly.
My name is Jason Williams. I am the CEO of Mason-Dixon Companies, and I grew up in Edmondson Village. So the Lexington Market bell ringer and my relationship to him. So my great-grandfather, James B. Carpenter, became the bell ringer back in the 1960s. He was selected by the individuals that were managing the market, and he took it with great pride. I mean, it was a very visible position. It was an important position. It created energy. So he actually got himself a top hat. He got himself a really nice tuxedo, and he did that every day when he rang the bell to open the market and close it. And he did that for many years, so much so that on his 80th birthday, the shop owners, which were mostly white shop owners in the 70s, early 70s, shut down the market and brought him a birthday cake and sung him happy birthday in the market. And my cousins, my like older cousins, my mom, my uncles, like my great grandfather got them all jobs in the market. My mom started working in the market when she was 14 years old. He got her a job at one of the concession stands. He owned 2 shoe shine stands. I just recently found out. I thought it was 1 shoe shine stand.
Okay.
He had both of the shoe shine stands in the market were his. I read a really old article about when he passed away and how they honored him. And in it, it talked about his 2 shoe shine stands and his medical supplies and like herbs stores. So he actually had 3 small businesses in the market. And each one of my family members all worked for him before they worked anywhere else. So starting at like somewhere around 14, everyone worked. All the guys shined the shoes. All of the ladies worked in the different like stands for different shop owners. Like he was one of the first people you saw coming in the market because both of his stands were very well placed.
Yeah.
He was a smart businessman. So people just knew him. They all called him Mr. Carpenter. I mean, back in that day, you made reference to it, the early 70s. They didn't call him Boy. They didn't call him James. They called him Mr. Carpenter because he was respected as a small business owner and respected of how he treated people. I started my small businesses about 5 years ago, and like every like young person, I think I'm the first there.
Right.
I think I'm the hottest person like out there because I like made it through my first year in business. So I posted something on my social media 4 years ago after my first year in business, like glad to be a small business owner, start my own business. I'm like, I'm here, I'm doing it, I'm making it happen. Like glad to be the first in my family to do it. My uncle, my cousins that follow my social media, and my mother all almost simultaneously called me and said, "We're so proud of you, but let's correct something here." Your great grandfather was a business owner before you were a thought,
right?
And he was a business owner in a time when it was hard to be a Black business owner.
Right. Yeah.
Even now, I mean, we talk about our struggles now, but his struggles then being in business that long ago. I mean, he was not only a business owner, before he became a business owner, he worked on the railroad, he worked in restaurants downtown. He kind of like, he worked for the electric company. He really did a lot of things before deciding to start his own businesses. And I mean, and it's also to my like excitement that you can be a small business owner at any time. He didn't start his businesses until he was in his 60s. It's kind of also sad for me because I didn't know. Growing up, even though he was such an important part to all of my uncles and the stories they told me were deeply personal. Getting their first job and making sure they showed up on time. No, tuck your shirt in.
Right.
People like, sir, thank you, ma'am. Like, count the money right. Like that shoe shine isn't right. You got to make the noise. You got to
those little principles and nuggets.
Those little things that give a customer an experience. He knew it with little formal education back then. And, when I really think about my great grandfather, my great grandparents were former slaves. He was the son of former Virginia slaves before at a young age he moved and the family moved to Baltimore City and made this our home. The history and the, willingness to fight through adversity that he went through, but also the family about the next generation. I mean, my great grandmother owned a restaurant with my great grandfather on Pennsylvania Avenue. It was called All People's Market.
Wow.
We would take the food. He was a deacon in his church. He really believed in giving back. So he coordinated with so many of the shop owners and said, hey, you all throw away about 3 or 4 days before the food starts to spoil. You start away. Would you be willing to give it to me on Fridays? And so I can take it back into neighborhoods. So he would take it back to the markets, he would take it back to the locations, and he would teach people how to cook the food. And he would give it out to communities in need. I mean, when you talk about someone who was an entrepreneur but understood the responsibility of a business owner to give back to communities,
Sure.
it was extremely important. You know, like he was an incredible guy, and I keep learning new things about him because I keep getting little like I found articles. My mom was moving. You know, as people get older, she decided that she was going to move downtown into Baltimore. It's like she grew up here in Baltimore. She moved me and my sister out to the county when we were about to go to high school because she was worried that the high school that I was potentially going to didn't have some strong programs that she thought would help us get to where we needed to be. But so now she moved back to the city because she's like, I'm a city girl. I want to be home. And she moved back to the city. And it was, but as she was moving all of her stuff out of the house, we started finding more articles about him, about when he passed away, how the city honored him. The mayor was at his funeral. The city council was at his funeral. They actually shut down Lexington and God, there was another street that passed the market. And as his funeral procession passed the market, they rang the bell for the last time, and they didn't ring the bell again after he passed.
Jeez.
It was police escort. My mom was telling me she'd never seen anything like it because she'd never seen a African American man have a police escort in his funeral. Or have a mayor come to his funeral because he used to shine the mayor's shoes. Like I was like the slave, you know, like and you know, so you find these little tidbits about your family, and to be honest, as African Americans, we have to be better about tracking our family history because I would have never known the impact this man had on people's lives if I didn't get told the stories and go research. And then I started researching and finding more stuff about like what he had done to advance African Americans and small business in Lexington Market.
This is Rob Lee from Getting to the Truth in Its Art. I'm a podcast and Baltimore resident and a lifelong Baltimore resident. And I wanted to chime in on some of my memories of Lexington Market. And I'll say right off the bat, it's going to be brief, but it's kind of this overarching memory of going down there to Lexington Market, like occasionally playing a little hooky from school or going there late, but it would be usually my dad and I, or on occasion my brother, dad, and I, and we'd go down there. We'd make the rounds. We'd hit up different locations down there. We'd get these blue mints from this candy stall, which was next to the hot dog stand, and definitely get like a couple of chili dogs. And we'd go over there to that delicatessen, and it was always around food. We'd get I think it was these corned beef sandwiches, these really thick, huge corned beef sandwiches, and it was literally we're going there almost like it's the market, but it's for our favorite kind of things. And on occasion, we'd go at night or later in the day rather, and my dad had a specific ice cream, and he always gives a combo actually. We'd go there next to where Burger Cookies is at, and there was this ice cream stand, and he would get really odd combo. It's like, he'd get these two different types of ice cream. One was a pineapple ice cream, and the other one was a walnut ice cream. And that was kind of the culmination. Like, a trip to Lexington Market was going there, getting stuff in the morning, and occasionally we'd come back later in the day. But it was definitely a food-oriented trip. And as soon as you come in, you smell those roasted nuts from Constance, and we're at the right place. We're going to get some blue mints next. I love those blue mints, and I believe was it Red Hot Dollars and Mexican hats from the candy stall, and we'd get the hot dogs, the chili dogs, and yeah, it was just definitely family and food, and that's what I'll remember from Lexington Market. Those were my most fondest memories there. So thank you, and thank you for doing this. Actually, this is a great project.
My favorite memory about Lexington Market is during the holiday season, especially Thanksgiving and Christmas. Lexington Market was like Whole Foods today. It had the best produce and it had the best meat and fresh fish. You could pick up fresh flowers, and it had specialty stands for chocolates and candies. I remember going to, but Baltimore was known for having roasted um, peanuts outside. So when you arrived at Lexington Market, you instantly knew where you were. No matter where you were from in Baltimore, no matter what your social economic background was, everyone would meet at Lexington Market. It was a great place for families to shop for food and other items. My mother's sister, my Aunt Rose, and I would go to breakfast at Lexington Market. She would take me to breakfast for, uh, just for her and I to spend time together. I mean, an aunt and nephew, an aunt and niece, those are very special moments. So everyone should cherish those because your aunt or uncle is like a second parent. So she's no longer with me, but we would eat at this one breakfast place. We always went for breakfast. It was never any other meal, but we would always do breakfast. And I believe the name of what is it is the Sandwich King, and it was its own little stall, but it was one of the only stalls that had a seating area. It had about stationary tables, and we would sit there and have breakfast. You would go get your breakfast and then take it over to the seating area. It was the only place that we would have breakfast. Everyone had their favorite deli or favorite breakfast place or favorite grocer, and that was my Aunt Rose and I's favorite stall. I asked a cousin earlier, but she believes the name may have changed, but it's called, I think, the Sandwich King. Well, I can tell you that there was a special spot that my mother would go introduce me to. And it was a place that was uh, important to me because it was where I received my care packages from. For when I went away to college, my mother would go to a specific stall for chocolate chip cookies and for gummy bears. And throughout my college days, I would receive from Lexington Market chocolate chip cookies and gummy bears from one particular stall. Um, and it, like I said, it holds fond memories because as a child, I went there and got these things, and my mother continued that treat for me when I got to college. So yes, we had specific places. Everyone had their favorite, even though the same place, different places may sell the same item. You had your specific place that you went. And not to mention crab cakes in the back of the uh, Lexington Market. It was like inter different world. You went into the fish market in the back, and it was just magical. People stood around eating raw oysters. Cousin that would visit from Brooklyn, New York, and every visit we would have to take him back to uh, that fish area where he would eat raw oysters and stand up, and I would watch the entire. Um, it was almost a a well planned out theatrical performance on how he ate the oyster with Tabasco sauce and throwing his head back. And it was really fun to watch my big cousin eat these oysters. And we would all get crab cakes. And of course, mom would get fish to take home.
I'm originally from Providence, Rhode Island, and I moved to Baltimore in 1973 to go to the University of Maryland School of Social Work, which is a few blocks from Lexington Market. And I went there quite often on lunch breaks. I really fell in love with the place. But the first time I went there in fall of '73, I used to enjoy tongue sandwiches when I was a kid. We had them just once in a while. It's kind of like a less expensive version of corned beef. But I never thought about what tongue was. So I went to this deli in Lexington Market on my first trip there. Oh, actually, second trip. When I first arrived here, a friend who I went to college with, who was from Baltimore, gave me a tour of Baltimore, including Lexington Market. And I remember we bought some shrimp. This was my first trip alone. So I went to this deli and I saw that they had tongue on the menu. So I said, oh, I haven't had this in so long. I'm going to get it. So I order a tongue sandwich and the clerk goes to the case and grabs out this immense tongue. It's like, I don't know, a foot long at least, this huge pink thing. It's stiff as a board, and puts it on the slicer. And I'm already thinking, oh my God, what? Oh, that's what a tongue is? Oh no. So I had this sandwich, but I can't say I really enjoyed it because the whole time I'm thinking about this big cow that gave up its tongue, and that was the last tongue sandwich I had in my life.
My name is Unique Robinson, poet, performer, educator, and of course, West Baltimore native. This is a story about Lexington Market from my perspective. And what can I say about Lexington Market other than the fact that it raised me, kept my belly full? Well, with fried shrimp I was able to eat that my cousins didn't take away from me. I kept entertainment buzzing and kept the community for a generation that needed it. My maternal family was raised in Lexington Terrace Projects, so Lexington Market was the back porch. It was a supermarket. It was the cellar zone for my relatives' fixes. It was stopping at your favorite stalls in the old or new market or both, depending on what you got a taste for that day. Mary Mervis, which I called Mary Mary's for a lot of my young life because the cursive confused me, always had a mass of people crowding in front of an elevated platform and a cooler full of lunch meat. Corned beef sandwiches, of course, were the fan favorite, and cold cuts were the second. Everyone always seemed to be in a hurry. The customers, the clerks, slicing meat rapidly and jumping back to take orders, take dollars, food stamps, and the like. It was so packed, so popular that they had 2 stalls, and my mother and Aunt Sonia often raised hell at both of them. They'd either get into an altercation with the clerk because she was nasty, or a nasty bitch if it was my aunt talking, or about how to slice the meat, not too thick, not too thin. And my mother, whose name is Carla, would regularly ask the clerks to hold up the meat as they sliced it to check for her own precision. This, of course, pissed the clerks off, who again are in a constant rush, remember? This also pissed off the customers in line, with both stalls reaching beyond their actual length. And I would stare, childhood me, at the cartoon characters painted on the green border at the top of the stall, wrapping around its about 12 by 4 or 5 frame. Donald Duck, Bart Simpson, Snoopy, probably, all of them shouting into each other in bubble form about how delicious the sandwiches were, and how Mary Mervis just couldn't be beat. This was true, as there was a rival deli spot directly in front of Mary Mervis called the Baron, which gleamed in red Old English font on its sign, which was frequently underpopulated, almost ghost town in comparison to the one across. Sometimes my mother would order from them, but rarely. Other times my mom would have a craving for Park's fried chicken, asking for 1 or 2 wings at a time, and everybody knew Park's had the best chicken in the new market, with the lines often protruding past both of their stalls too. And I would later have the same craving in high school, City Forever, class of 05, you already know, when me and my friends would pull out of school, rushing to take the 36 downtown. Douse everything in salt, pepper, ketchup, including the city itself. We would also go to Fadley's for the crab cakes and the raw bar. Now I'm going to pause on the raw bar because it was an essential key to understanding me as a child and the old soul they already knew I was. I was the only child at the raw bar often, every single time I went. And my dad, who's from North Fulton Ave in Saratoga, so pretty close to Lexington Market as well, Was friends with Lou. That was the cool cat who would slice open the clams for me and the oysters for him in record time. And each time his hands were wetter by the moment, he'd shake them off and then wipe his hands with a white rag. Because, of course, every black man 40 and over just has a white rag. And then he'd slide the paper plate of clams, massive clams, over to me, who could barely see above the counter, but I was always prepared to throw down. And then slide the plate of oysters over to my father. Now, I never liked oysters as a kid. I was creeped out by the exterior, thinking they looked like a fucked up toenail, honestly. But it turns out they tasted similar to clams all along. But young me had chosen clams because I enjoyed chewing into this meaty, raw flesh, swishing it around in my mouth with the cocktail sauce and hot sauce riding shotgun, and of course the lemon in the back. And my dad always got horseradish, which I also didn't understand the meaning of, and was regularly grossed out by it. The whole time, it was what was powering the cocktail sauce I doused my clams in, and my fried shrimp, which would take you to the next part of my story. So my parents separated when I was very young, so each experience I had with them was always separate. With my dad, we go to Fadley's. He talks sports, streets, people who died, and everything in between with Lou or whoever else was around the bar, which was often home to about 14 elbows at a time. Mine would make 16, of course, if I was tall enough to reach. With my mom, we go to the old market. I'd frequently ask, why do you call it the old market? What year did that happen? When did the new market happen? What is this? And various other related questions. She explained that the old market was the original one and the new market across the street was built in the 70s. It never quite made sense to me, but then again it did. So the story goes on, but I'll end it there. Just wanted to share just how near and dear Lexington Market is to me and always will be. Thank you.
All right. And we are back live. Thank you to all of the storytellers who shared their Lexington Market stories with us. That was only a sampling of those that we have collected. I also want to acknowledge that many of the photos that you saw were of Lexington Market were taken by Daisy Brown, who is the Peale Storytelling Ambassador. And you also heard Daisy's voice interviewing some of our speakers today. And Daisy is available to interview you if you prefer and help record your Lexington Market story that you or anyone you know might have. So with the end of that pre-recorded program, we would now actually like to open it up to some of those who have joined us on the call who would like to share their story. If it's easy for you and you have a story you would like to share, if you can either raise your hand or type in the chat that you would like to have a story. But I do know that we have our one presenter who is ready to go, and that is Napoleon Sykes. So Napoleon, I'm going to add you here. I'm going to take myself out and I'll let you take it away from here. Thank you so much for sharing your story live with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, how are you guys doing? So I don't have like 7 minutes or so, and I'm long-winded. So I will try and make it as brief as possible. My name is Napoleon Sykes. I grew up in the Mount Washington area. I lived on Taney Road, like right up the street from Cross Country Elementary. And growing up, my mom's from Baltimore. My dad's from Littleton, North Carolina, and moved up here in the 40s. But one of the things that was really important in our house was learning Black history, learning Baltimore history, learning just our family history in the home. And one of the things that I was a big athlete growing up, big into sports, and one of the things that connected my father and I was boxing. And I can remember growing up, he had these VHS videos of the world's greatest fights. We got to watch Joe Louis and Jack Dempsey and all those guys. And naturally, as a kid, the guy that I fell in love with was Muhammad Ali. For a kid, he's flashy, he's always talking trash, and he backs it up. And he was just an amazing human. And naturally, I draw to Muhammad Ali, and that happened to be one of my dad's favorite boxers. So, he was able to see him fight a couple times during his career. And so he always told me stories about it. So really, one day, and I want to say I was thinking about it last night, I want to say it was V103 back in the day with Frank Ski and that crew. They advertised on the radio that Muhammad Ali was going to be at Lexington Market. And so obviously we had to go try and see him. And so rewind a little bit, when I saw the first slideshow, and I'm sure everybody has this experience, when you see the pictures of Lexington Market, you can immediately smell Lexington Market. And, there's things that are attached to memories, and the warm peanuts is what is attached to everything, and so, my dad's like, hey, yeah, we should, I'm pulling on my dad's shirt. We got to go see Muhammad Ali. And naturally, just like anything else, we pull in, park our car, and it feels like thousands of people out there. I mean, you're having an opportunity to see the world's greatest. And so, we kind of bounce through the crowd, and we're looking, and we cannot find him, and we cannot get anywhere near him. And so for me, my father was my superhero. I mean, it's weird that I feel and see so much of him in myself right now. And it was just one of the coolest experiences, because, you could feel his energy as soon as he got out of the car, that we felt the same. We were like two kids walking through a crowd trying to find Muhammad Ali. And we were there for about an hour and a half. We were a little late because I played soccer. And when we finally got to a point where it was like, I don't think we're going to see him. And we, you could see the disappointment, the childish disappointment on my dad, but he was just excited that we got to go down there. And so as we pushed through the crowd, we saw this conversion van that was like sit down. It was parked on the side of the road. There was a big crowd of people right around there. As I get a little choked up, but as I pushed through the crowd, there was a man sitting in a chair, and there were a bunch of people surrounding him. And so the one guy asked me, you want to see the champ? And I'm like, yeah, like that's what we came here for. And so as we were leaving, we were kind of just, you're a little let down that you didn't get to see Muhammad Ali, and you were about to head home, but you were still, the energy of just being there and having an opportunity to see him, and see the amount of energy that he put in the people around. There were tons of people just trying to come see Muhammad Ali. And so as I pushed through the crowd, this man tells me, do you want to see the champ? And I'm like, yes. And so he pulls me through the crowd, and sitting in the chair is Muhammad Ali. And he gave me a big old hug. He come over here. And he, if you've ever gotten to meet Muhammad Ali in the past, he would always, shadow box with you. So it got to shadow box with Muhammad Ali. He gave me a big old hug, and we got an opportunity to take a picture with them. And so we actually got a little bit better than everything else. I don't even know, I know I have the picture somewhere, and he may have signed it, but that was one of those moments in my life where I can just remember seeing, you get to see your parents, and you get to see joy from your parents when you have grandkids. But as a child, I got to see this childish joy on my dad's face and experience that moment with him, where we were both getting to see somebody that meant so much to us. And it was truly one of the cooler moments in my life. Lexington Market just became a place for us where, we lived in that Mount Washington area, went to church at St. Francis Xavier down off Oliver Street. And then I played club soccer growing up. So, naturally my dad and I, we would, on Sundays after church, we'd swing through Lexington Market, grab something to eat, grab a bag of peanuts, and then head out to a soccer game. But that experience, getting to be there at a place that was sort of, part of our Sunday ritual, and get to see somebody that meant so much to us, and get to see that joy on my father's face, was just remarkable. And it was an experience that I'll remember forever. I mean, I can still, if I close my eyes, I can really feel like I'm still there. So, I just appreciate you guys taking the time to share that story with y'all. But hopefully we can share some more stories while we're here. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Napoleon. It was so great to hear that story now for the second time. I love that story every time I do. So thank you for joining us here today. At this point, we would like to open it up to anybody else who's on the call with us today who might have a story to share. I do see Kristen Mitchell has raised her hand. So Kristen, you can get ready for a moment. I'm going to put you on here, take myself out, and you can take it away from here. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Hi, everybody. Just enjoyed your stories all very much. I'm Kristen Mitchell. I'm the executive director of the Market Center Merchants Association. I will share my story in just a minute, but first I do need to say that this work is sponsored by the Maryland Center for History and Culture through their Thomas V. Mike Miller History Fund. And my story comes from a much more current time frame. I've been coming to Lexington Market my whole life, but I work in the area now. And for the last several years, I've really enjoyed going to the market around the holidays, like Thanksgiving to Christmas time, and listening to the guy from Leslie's Produce yell about holiday greens. He just had like this very melodic voice, and he would be, calling people to the stand with his holiday greens. And there was just this amazing feeling in the air. It was just so magical, like with everybody wandering around Lexington Market, seeing their old friends, like picking up the goods for their holiday meals and everything. And there was always like music playing in the background, piped in, and it was so festive. And I know this was past the prime of Lexington Market, the days that most people remember when they talk about the prime of Lexington Market, but I could still feel that vibe, and it's just a very special place.
Thank you so much, Kristen, and thank you for all of your work with the market itself, and for joining us here today, and for sharing that story. Let me remove you off of here. If there's anyone else who has a story they'd like to share, you can raise your hand, or if it's easier for you, you can just unmute yourself and let me know. Kristen, since you did mention the partner with the Maryland Center for History and Culture through the Pathways grant, I just thought I would mention some of the other project partners. This project has many other partners, including Baltimore Heritage, Baltimore Public Markets Corporation, Lexington Market Incorporated, Market Center Community Development Corporation, and Seawall, as well as Kristen mentioned, being partially funded by the Pathways Grant for the Maryland Center for History and Culture. So thank you to all of our partners and funders on this particular project. Daisy, I see you have your hand up, so give me just a moment to bring you into the conversation here, and then I will let you take it away. Did we lose Daisy? Oh, here you are. Sorry about that.
You see me?
Yeah. All right.
There we go. All right.
The table is yours.
So hi, everybody. Once again, as David mentioned, I am the storyteller ambassador for the Peale Center. And I'm just going to briefly share my story of my memory with Lexington Market, which are many. The one that stands out, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, is growing up, my mother would get our birthday cakes from one of the bakeries in Lexington Market as sort of a tradition every year. And we would order it during the week, and then we would pick it up that Saturday morning and sort of have a neighborhood birthday party that afternoon. And many of my friends that I grew up with in West Baltimore, that was sort of our thing. You ordered your cake during the week, you pick it up in the morning on a Saturday, and then everybody had a sheet cake for their birthday. So it was a fond memory. I'll never forget it. And then ironically, later on years later, I would say, I became a baker and started making birthday cakes for other people. So that's a little bit of a tidbit on that. So I hope that makes everybody happy.
Thank you so much, Daisy, and thank you for all of the work that you have been doing on this project. We are approaching the end of our time, but I wanted to put it out there. If there was one last person who wanted to share a story with us here today, you can raise your hand or chime in by voice. I'll give you a few moments to think about whether you have a story, but while we do that, I will close out the event, but knowing that if a story comes up, we will happily hear it. We want to thank everyone for joining us today and sharing your stories of Lexington Market. If you are like me, your mouth is now watering and you are ready for lunch, which I hope all of you can enjoy very shortly, perhaps even at the market. We will add all the stories that we collected today to the other wonderful stories that we've already collected as part of this project, but you can also contribute your Lexington Market story on the Peale's website through a variety of different means, and I'll put up a slide right at the end with more information on that. But in the meantime, on behalf of the Peale Center and all of our project and program partners, once again, we want to thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoy the rest of the beautiful day. I'm just doing one more scan to see if anybody wants to chime in, but it doesn't look like they do. So I want to thank you all once again for being here and for sharing and listening to these incredible Lexington Market stories. Thank you so much.